Guys, I'm creamslice. This Warlock build I'm about to show you is going to blow your mind. This might just be the best Strand Warlock build I've ever used. I love the Strand build with necrotic grips, but this Threadling Warlock build is just absolutely busted. So as always, the footage you're going to be seeing in the background is of endgame content. We are running a grandmaster in this gameplay, and just look at how many Threadlings we are creating. We are going to be taking advantage of Weavewalk. 1, because it offers us invincibility. 2, it is a get out of jail card. Not only that, we can spawn 5 Threadlings at once. Then with our aspect, we're going to be creating Threadlings with our rift. Plus we have a Threadling grenade. So all of these Threadlings just clear out rooms, champions, everything. It's just absolutely phenomenal. And when you pair it with the Monte Carlo, we have Infinity Weavewalk. We have an incredible gameplay loop of Weavewalk, rifts, and Threadling grenades. So we can pretty much throw out at least 8 to 9 Threadlings in one gameplay loop. As you can see from some of these clips against the champions and certain situations, we own the battlefield. So let's break down the build and we'll get into it. Be sure to follow all the mod setups and everything that I have built it up to be, because this, in my opinion, works the best with ability rotation and Threadlings. So there will be a dim link as always below in my pinned comment. All I ask from you guys is a quick like. Let's get the build. So from the subclass, we are taking the Threadling grenade. Threadlings, these are pure strand matter and they seek enemies and attack them, and they also deal damage. We can also increase the damage of our Threadlings with one of the fragments also. But the main aspect is Weavewalk with this build. So you dodge while you're airborne, it consumes your melee energy. You enter a weave and it gains a massive damage reduction. Pretty much a get out of jail card. It can resist pretty much anything in the harder content from combatants, and you reactivate your dodge or you cast your rift to exit the weave, and we generate perch Threadlings. So the longer you stay in Weavewalk, you can create a maximum of 5 Threadlings. You pair that with Weaver's Call, cast your rift to weave 3 Threadlings. So now when you come out of Weavewalk with Weaver's Call, you're going to generate 8 Threadlings straight off the bat. Then with the ability rotation, you're going to throw your Threadling grenade. This is a further 3. So in this point, you have 11 Threadlings attacking and seeking out enemies. There's Strand absolutely everywhere. Because we're using the Monte Carlo for Infinity Weavewalk, you can throw an arcane needle in with that as well, in between the Threadlings attacking, and everything is going to just unravel, and it's a beautiful sight. Honestly, the fragments we are taking, you can only take 3. We are taking Thread of Warding, picking up an overpowered Grant's Woven Mail. This is a 60% damage reduction, so we can always have Woven Mail up through Orbs of Power. Then we want to take Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy, feeding back into our Threadling grenade. Then Thread of Evolution. Threadlings travel farther and deal additional damage. So the damage numbers with Threadlings are absolutely crazy, because at some points we can have 11 up, some points we will only have 8, but as you can imagine, 8 Threadlings plus an arcane needle is just madness. So I mentioned the Monte Carlo before and how this is going to play an absolutely crucial role to the ability loop to our build. So what it looks like is the Monte Carlo method. Dealing damage with this weapon reduces your melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge your melee ability with each kill. The great way this works with this build is with any arcane needle kill that you get, this weapon is going to grant a ×5 Markov chain, doing increased damage, and it works really well. So if you want to abuse the Weavewalker and your Threadlings, you will absolutely need to be running the Monte Carlo. So the whole gameplay loop is about spawning 5 Threadlings, and this is ultimately the best way to do it with this exotic. It makes it even better this season because we have anti-barrier champions with auto rifles as well. So we just ran into this lost sector really quickly just to give you an insight of what the damage kind of looks like with the whole combo. So we throw the Weavewalker, we exit with our rift, and then we throw our grenade down, as you can see from this clip here with Carl. So to complete the power fantasy of just unravel Threadlings, we want the exotic swarmers. The reason I chose this over necrotic grips is the armor perk swarmers. Destroying a tangle spawns a Threadling. Your Threadlings unravel targets that they damage, so you're constantly in a loop of unraveling and spawning tangles. When you destroy the tangles, it makes more Threadlings. And the great thing about the Threadling build is when you pair it with Elemental Fury from the artifact, while stunned, champions take bonus damage from your abilities. So as you saw in the clip when we was coming up to the 2 barriers, we broke their shields, and then we proceeded to get the damage buff from Elemental Fury, which takes the Threadling build to a whole new level, especially against champions. So for the armor mods to make this build even more efficient, we went with Kinetic Siphon to create orbs of power with the Monte Carlo. Then we have Double Dynamo when we are popping our rift. It's going to give us super energy back. On the arms, we've got Heavy Handed to create orbs of power with our melee. As I was explaining before, you have pretty much infinity melee, so you can dip between the Weavewalk and the Arcane Needle. The Arcane Needle is super efficient because it causes damage over time as well as unraveling enemies. Great for witches shields as well. And then we have Momentum Transfer to gain extra ability, and then Grenade Kickstart, which will give us that extra grenade ability for the recharge of our Threadling grenade when we have armor charges. On the chest piece, we've got Charged Up to hold more stacks of armor charges, and then we have our elemental damage resist mods as per. On the swarmers, we have Absolution, so every time we pick up an overpower, it's going to feed into all of our abilities. Elemental Charge, when we damage a tangle, it gives us an escalated chance to create armor charges that way as well. And then on the class item, we have Double Bomber. When we throw down our Threadling Rift, it's going to feed into our Threadling Grenade. And then a Utility Kickstart mod, when we have armor charges and we throw down our Rift, it's going to give us even more Rift energy back. So this is a really simple setup, but so efficient. I think this was probably the best run I had in this Grandmaster. The gameplay loop is so smooth. Dipping in and out of Weavewalk, it's like a get out of jail card, as I was saying, when you are at critical health. As for the loadout, I was using the Loaded Question, Unstoppable Champions, and then the Hothead Adept, but feel free to use whatever you want in the heavy. If you wanted to just make easy work of champions, throw down your Threadlings, throw a rocket in there, it's good night. But yeah, this is probably the best Strand Warlock build I have used this season. Try and get your resilience and your discipline up. Go have fun with this one, guys. Leave a like, comment, share the video, subscribe if you're feeling funky. I'm creamslice. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, and before I forget, I cannot take full credit for this build. Rio the God mentioned this to me the first day of the new season. Sadly, the Weavewalk got disabled, so we couldn't go ahead with the build. But now, I hope I brought your build to light with a few touches from myself. So thank you for that, Rio the God. Enjoy the build, guys.